Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. It's Laura here, and we're going to talk about these energies because we've got Venus ingressing into Scorpio today, and we also have Mars in a sextile to Pluto. And so Mars is in that sextile to Pluto. It culminates before Venus enters into Scorpio, but the chart you're going to see up here today is Venus ingressing into Scorpio, because I do feel this is significant energies for the collective. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. My name is Laura. I'm a twin flame coach, twin flame guide, channeler, and astrologer. And we're going to talk about this because Venus in Scorpio is initiating a cycle, I feel, for the divine feminine connected to emotional depth, psychic intensity, and there's a lot of relationship truth seeking with Venus in Scorpio, okay? And we see Venus there as she ingresses. It's going to be happening in the 6th house. And so this is our day-to-day life. This is our health, our habits, our routines, okay? And so this ingress is really asking for emotional honesty, right? It's asking the divine feminine to recognize the shadow patterns, especially connected to control and fear, and especially fear of abandonment, okay? And it's going to ask us to really go into attachment alchemy in order to rise, right? We're transmuting the shadow archetype of the feminine energy. Venus is at home in Taurus. Venus in Scorpio is in its detriment, okay? And so this is where the divine feminine collective is going to be asked to confront whatever's been avoided, especially connected to love and intimacy, right? Because Venus in Scorpio, they love hard and they love deep, but there's also a fear of intimacy with that ingression, okay? And we also see Venus here in a quincunx to Uranus retrograde almost immediately after it moves in to Scorpio. And so this is an exact quincunx. And so a quincunx is an inconjunct aspect. It is definitely going to be a destabilizing shift, okay? It's kind of like the pebble in the shoe, but Uranus is all about surprises. And so there's going to be, I feel, a shift connected to identity-based relational energies, okay? Because it's happening, Uranus in the 1st house. And so there's like a cracking open in the energies with this shift. There's a revealing of truth. I want to say connected to habits. I want to say connected to any labels that we've put on ourselves or on this journey, and definitely connected to communication patterns. And it feels like a disconnect, almost like a sudden disconnect or a sudden reconnection. And so either things can kind of happen today. It feels like a collective tower in combination with the 9 of Wands, okay? And so there's this pressure to endure energy, and I feel like an ego disruption because Uranus is in that 1st house. And so there's a breakthrough here through surrender, and we can't force anything, right? And we also see Venus in a semi-square to the South Node in Virgo. The South Node in Virgo is asking us to purify self-worth wounds, right? And it is connected to perfectionism habits, criticism cycles, right? Because Virgo is the critic, the inner critic and the external critic. And it is connected to hyper-analysis, connected to love. And the energy does feel reactive, right? A semi-square, once again, is not quite a square, but it's a very uncomfortable aspect here. And so there's a release, I feel. We're being called to release the overthinking. We're being called to release martyrdom. That's a big one. And any love frameworks based on conditioned, right? And where we give conditional love. And so the Tower and the 9 of Wands, I feel, is speaking to the resilience and this boundary holding energy where we keep reenacting the same old wounds over and over again. We also see Venus in an applying square to Pluto. It will be exact tomorrow. And so this square is going to intensify this shadow exposure, and it's going to intensify power and control dynamics and attachments, okay? Negative karmic attachments. And so there's going to be catalytic energy. It could be a catalytic conversation over the coming days. There could be a massive energetic purge. It could be a cord purge. It could be karmic closure in a relationship that's just not aligned with the twin flame depth or the twin flame evolution. And the divine feminine, I feel, is in a massive portal of upgrading her standards, okay? Especially after that Taurus full moon. We're shifting. We're not going to long anymore. We are stepping into embodiment. That's what that full moon in Taurus brought in. And so with the Mars in a sextile to Pluto, and we got to remember, Mars recently just ingressed into Sagittarius, and Mars, the masculine now, is pursuing truth, right? Pursuing purpose, pursuing that higher direction. And in a sextile to Pluto, this feels empowering for the divine masculine, especially after the heavy energy that came through in yesterday's reading for the full moon. So there's an initiation here, a shift for the divine masculine. And there is a shift in their authority, a shift in their vision for the future is what I see here. There is a momentum being activated for the divine masculine, particularly connected to their purpose and their mission and their spiritual pathway. But we also see Mars here in an opposition to the moon in Gemini, which I feel is very challenging. I feel there's a challenge between the emotional and the mental body for the divine masculine today. And it's going to reveal this internal conflict. I feel cognitive dissonance because there's cognitive overstimulation is what this feels like. And there's an opposition here between choosing aligned action is what I see over reactive expressions. And so there's a deep symbolism here resonating with the Magician and the Three of Wands and the Emperor and the Knight of Cups. So this energy I feel today is now asking the divine masculine to step towards union energy, but they have to do this through being emotionally present, which a lot of them avoid doing. And so this is mission-driven clarity coming through, I feel, but they are still in this state of avoidance and over-intellectualizing their feelings. But either way, today feels like a portal of energy. Relationship transmutation is what they want me to say. Because the feminine is also diving into truth, but she's diving deeper into her sovereignty. And this is going to activate the divine masculines that are stepping into visionary leadership, but it's going to require that emotional courage. And so there's a lot of discomfort, right? And so when we have this discomfort going on internally, it does signify a recalibration that's going on in the collective. And right now, the union field is being strengthened with all of these energies, despite what's going on in our outer reality. We're going through a lot of shadow integration. We're still in Scorpio season. And so there's a lot of self-possession coming forward. There's a lot of conscious communication with our guides, with our higher self. And all of these energies are guiding the frequency of evolution, the frequency of union. And so we can't cling. We can't cling to the past. We can't cling to an outcome. We have to allow things to reveal themselves in divine timing. And so right now we're being called into mastery. So release the fear, okay? We're going to dig deeper in with some cards. We're going to see what the cards have to say. If you're curious about learning more about your birth chart, if you are new to astrology, I do have a free guide. All you got to do is comment free guide down below and I will send you the link to download the basics of your birth chart. And I also have a twin flame ebook. If you are curious about twin flame, if you are new to twin flame, I have written a 22-page twin flame ebook talking about the stages, the phases, and what twin flame entails, because it's not just romance. It is a mission-based soul contract. And I think there's a big misunderstanding about that. And we romanticize twin flame, and it's the farthest thing from romance if you think about the big scheme of things. So comment twin flame down below and I'll send you the link to download the ebook as well. And I will quickly mention, yesterday you missed out on an awesome live class with the astrology membership. We talked about the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, how to integrate them, how to align them, and how it does connect to the twin flame journey. It's never too late to join. You can always catch the replay, but go check out the astrology membership. For a fraction of the cost of one-on-one mentorship with me, you can join the monthly membership in a group setting, and it's just a beautiful soul-led community. So go check it out. I'd love to have you join us over there. Enough about that, though. Let's dig in with some cards and let's see what the cards have to say today. The cards today are placing the divine masculine at the forefront of this entire reading. And I do feel it is also aligned with the Venus entering into Scorpio energy, along with the Mars Pluto activation. Let's break it down. First card out, divine masculine. This is the yang principle, the yang energy. This says the masculine collective is highlighted in today's message. His inner world is in focus. His emotional and his spiritual pressure points are being activated. And this is accelerated evolution is what this is screaming to me today. The second card out is the bluff card. He is still wearing a mask. He's masking. He's pretending. He's bluffing. He's exaggerating. I gotta say, this feels like emotional suppression today. His performative strength, his facade of control, and he may be telling himself and others, he's fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But internally, in his inner world, it contradicts the mask that he's wearing and showing everybody. We got the twin flames card out today. I feel this is the twin flame recognition. There's mirrored feelings here being activated. Even if he's silent, even if he has pulled away, he feels the energetic pull. He sees the divine feminine in his reflection. I feel there's telepathy, there's emotional mirroring. All of this is heightened, especially going into Mercury retrograde coming up here on the weekend. And I think the feminine senses a shift, even if she doesn't see it happening externally, okay? So the bottom of the deck is actually pretty interesting because we got the cursed card. And so this, I feel there was a shift around Halloween where the masculine felt hexed, where he felt hexed. Because we see the pumpkin on the card. And I kind of feel he's feeling maybe unlucky. He could be feeling spiritually blocked. He could be feeling like somebody has done witchcraft on him, or he might think that you've done witchcraft on him, divine feminine. But I don't think there is any external interference here. This is his internal projection. This is his negative mindset. And so when we project from fear, instability, and emotional struggle, then that is where we create our own curse. Below that, we see the karma card. And so this, I gotta say, and I'm not laughing, but it feels like a karmic unraveling, right? It's not witchcraft. It's cause and effect. This is the consequences of the masculine's past decisions, right? In this lifetime and his soul's past lives and his family lineage. And then his pride, there's his ego. This has delayed surrender. This is him still being arrogant, stubborn, egoic. And I do feel there is a shift closing, though. Look, we get the time card, which is speaking of cycles, waiting, moments. And so there is a karmic shift here. There is a karmic phase, I want to say, closing out, but it's bittersweet. Oh, yes, it is. Look at that. Memories and bitterness. There's a lot of resentment and anger that the masculine still holds. There's a lot of reminiscing and dwelling and a lot of nostalgia, longing for what was lost, maybe even longing for the feminine, but still holding on to resentment and anger. I don't know if you've maybe said some hurtful words to your counterpart, or he said hurtful words to you, but like there's pride, there's bitterness, there's resentment here, and the masculine has created his own curse pretty much, right? Let's talk about the tarot cards that came through. So the first card out, the Ace of Cups in reversed. This, I feel, is an emotional purge. It could be emotional depletion. I feel heartbreak. I feel internalized heartbreak with this. I think the masculine feels disconnected from love. He feels maybe rejected by life. And I think he's like isolated in his own internal world. It's directly below the divine masculine card. And then we get the Justice in reverse. So once again, it mirrors the masking of the truth. There's an injustice here, right? And so there's silence, there's avoidance, there's karmic imbalance, and there's dishonesty. That's exactly what it is. So if we turn the card upright, it looks like a fish trying to swim upstream. He's going against the grain. He's going against the divine. He's pushing when he should be surrendering. And so it might not be dishonesty towards the feminine, but it very well could be. I think mostly it's dishonesty towards himself and his current situation or his current environment. This feels like karmic retribution energy being activated because the truth demands to be recognized. And then the death card. So 2 days in a row, we get the death card in a different position. Yesterday, it was the central energy. Today, it's in a different position. It's in the top row. And so I kind of like this death card. We see the turtle making its way to the water, and we see the seagull going to go and eat that turtle. And so, like, this has been a long time coming. I also want to say this is like a major metamorphosis going on for the masculine, where he's at that threshold of a profound spiritual rebirth. I think there's fear. It feels like there's pressure. There's this truth energy coming through. There's rapid internal change that is catalyzing a transformation that I feel the masculine really has resisted. And then we'll talk about the middle row, because there is like restless movement here. We get the Knight of Wands. This also, I feel, is the fire rising connected to Mars entering into Sagittarius. I always feel Sagittarius energy with the Knight of Wands archetype. And what is that, like a lynx or something? It looks like a lynx. And so this is initiation. This is the impulse to go towards freedom. This is like a catalyst energy coming through, and he's diving straight into the wound, right? We get the Nine of Wands. It feels really dark. It feels like he's exhausted. It feels like he's fatigued. His ego is being humbled. It feels like the surrender moment. That's the central energy of the reading this week. And so the masculine is going to have to dissolve his victim consciousness, right? We're never victims. We create our reality through our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. We create our reality. And so we are a victim of our own creation, and we have to release that victim consciousness. I feel there's spiritual burnout, and there is going to be a breakthrough, because there's a new beginning here. There's a new beginning emerging with the Page of Pentacles, and there's that turtle. It looks like a turtle again from the death card. And so from an ending comes a new beginning. This is where the masculine becomes the student. The spiritual path is a lifelong journey. It's a humbling journey. We have to lose it all at times to learn how to rebuild. We have to become the apprentice in order to become the guru. So let's talk about the bottom row, because the Two of Pentacles in reverse feels very chaotic. It feels like the threshold moment. There's indecision, there's overwhelm, there's a loss of stability here. It's like this is the storm before the redirection. And this is a fated turn of events with the Wheel of Fortune. This is like, it looks like a vortex. It looks like the vortex of the rebirth. And destiny is stepping in, reclaiming the timeline. I feel like a leap of faith is really this energy coming in. And with the Three of Cups reversed as the final card, I think this is the end of triangulation. And if you've studied narcissism, you know all about triangulation. So this is the third party collapse, the collapse of the triangulation dynamics, the third party dynamics. And you see, there's that fish that was trying to swim upstream, now is back in the flow, back in the flow. I also feel this could be a withdrawal from a social influence or a social group. And I think there's gossip about a separation from false allegiance or alliance. There's like an emotional and a social shedding here is what it feels like for the divine masculine today. And so we'll talk about the bottom of the deck, the Hanged Man in reversed. I just feel like memories of Atlantis with this one, right? We see the energy, I feel, of Atlantis. And so Piscean energy, we are moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So we're moving from the age of martyrdom and sacrifice and moving into the age of manifestation, creation, truth, authenticity. And so this feels like a lot of time has been wasted, and the masculine is recognizing a lot of time has been wasted. There could be sudden clarity. There could be a sudden perspective shift. There could be an emergent energy from a very stagnant situation. The Eight of Swords in reversed is self-liberation, right? This is like the devil in the minor arcana. It's the inner prison, right? The cages we put ourselves in, the masks we wear, the addictions we play into. This is the wrong people that we connect with. There is I feel like a mental release of an old pattern here. And it does feel like a false foundation has collapsed. An ending of cooperation with the wrong people, with the wrong structures. Oh, look at that. And the Seven of Wands reversed. This reminds me of, like, you see those posts all the time about the iceberg, right? And so this is what you see people are dealing with, and below the surface is what they're actually dealing with. So this feels like everything below the surface that the masculine has repressed is coming to light. And it kind of has like an eclipse energy to this. So I think we're in a massive clearing portal from the last eclipse that we had back in September to the next eclipse that we're going to have on the Virgo Pisces axis. And so this is everything coming out. This is the walls breaking down. This is the ego defenses crumbling, and the eclipse timed shift. So there's truth rising from the depths that's been hidden. And I do feel there's no longer escaping this. So let's talk about the closing messages from Spirit. I love my messages from Spirit deck. Go check out Lightworker Tarot and Oracle on YouTube. I don't know if she still does readings or not, but I bought this deck several years ago at the start of my journey, and I love the card works, the cards that she makes. So the first card out, what makes your soul sing with joy? Recapture that vitality now. This, I feel, is asking the feminine to return to joy, right? What is going to make you anchor in vitality, right? We can't collapse into the divine masculine's emotional storm. And I feel we do have to avoid self-sabotage, right? Our radiance is our leadership frequency. We can't go into the shadows with the masculine. We can't learn his lessons for him, right? And I feel this is also a clear indication of the masculine in a self-sabotaging cycle or a pattern here. And the bottom of the deck clearly shows that, because the situation is fraught with deception. This whole reading is fraught with deception, okay? And I do feel the masculine is struggling, and he needs your compassion and understanding. And I know that's easier said than done. But the masculine, I feel, is hiding his suffering. He needs compassion. He doesn't need pressure. Because beneath all of the silence, I do think he does have gratitude and recognition for you. He does see you as a gift, divine feminine, even if he can't say that yet. So hold that space. Whatever you do, don't chase, not even energetically. Stand in that embodied joy, right? Stand in your sovereignty. Create something. Journal. Paint, create. The feminine is the creator, right? We're here to embody joy and to resonate that soul song frequency outwardly, right? By holding space. There's a major transition here active, I feel, in this energy. And there's a union timeline that feels like it's recalibrating. The masculine's journey is collapsing with the false identity. And it usually takes a tower moment to break them out of their karmic loop, because a lot of the masculines in the collective, they hold on to those ego defenses. The feminine's role in the twin flame journey is embodiment. It's always going to be embodiment. We're not here to rescue either. So remember that, right? So you didn't hex them, although they probably feel like you did. But that's just cause and effect. That's what I have for a reading today. If you would like to go further with me with a personal reading, do feel free to check out the link below. You can head on over to the webpage. I offer a variety of different readings at different price scales, something there for everybody. And if you're ready to really dig deep and step into alignment as an embodied divine feminine, I highly encourage you to join the Astrology membership. How we master ourselves and learn about ourselves and integrate the multidimensional facets of our birth chart really allows us to fully step into that embodiment and clear all of the misaligned energy on the past. So go check out the membership. I'd love to have you join us over there. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you all again tomorrow.